So I'm going to show you guys my most recent sketchbook that I did this year, this like second half of 2018, and I'm really particularly proud of this sketchbook. Not because like I had like improvement or anything like that. Like I still draw just about the same, I want to say. I think the reason I'm proud of it is because I did more in it, and I guess my current style or like way of doing things like matured more, so I kind of like wanted to share that, and because I'm really proud of it. So here we go. Here's the front cover. It's a bunch of stickers and washi tape and stuff, and then the back of it, more knockoff stickers that I got from Wish, and then this boba place next to my campus on Alright, so more stickers, and here's the first page front cover. Yeah, so long title that I put it. Yeah, and I started it September 12th, and I ended it day after Christmas. So roughly 4 or 5 months there. So this is the one that I also used when I was in school, and also I think another reason why it's so important is because like I had been out of school for a really long time, and so this kind of like it's like a milestone for me of that too. So front cover, it's a lady, I guess, I don't know, and mother-in-law's tongue for body. Yeah, we're off to a great start, guys. Yeah, and then notes. This is like a weird, like how I draw myself, I guess, type of thing. I don't know. I really have no way of explaining anything. I just do things. Notes. I know I drew this at work because when I'm at work, I only have like a pencil and then like highlighters. Alright. This is a drawing of my girlfriend. I draw them a lot. In almost every sketchbook, I have like at least one like monumental looking drawing of them in here. So yeah, this is nice. I mean, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm not gonna go gripe over it. Oh, I don't even know if you guys can like see that, but it's supposed to be kind of like a self-portrait and like things, like kind of like my casual self type of deal. So that's a more realistic version of myself versus the other thing. Uh, sketching, like weird, like this little sketch of my cat, Romulus, and like info and stuff like that. Just trying to personalize it. The first few pages of the sketchbook are always weird. Right, this is a random page that I painted, and then months later, I glued in this piece of mylar that I use as a palette, hence why there's like colors behind it. And then another like month or two later, I like drew this in. So you're gonna notice that everything kind of like shifts back and forth because I do this thing where I go back to previous pages and add things. So nothing in here is necessarily in a chronological order. Uh, Gwendolyn, some Dark Soul stuff, and Guinevere, Nameless King, some stuff. These were prompts that I was gonna do for October, and I only did 4 of them. So, hey, small victories. Uh, Sketches of a character that I hadn't drawn in a long time. As you can see, I was struggling. Alright. Okay, this page. This is supposed to be like, I think it was gonna be like some fan character for Dragon Ball when I was watching Super, and then I stopped watching Super, and then I stopped caring. But, and this is like receipts, like blank receipts from my job, and sometimes I'll draw on those blank receipts, and then I'll just like glue them in. So this is kind of like where I was collecting everything. That's an OC. I think that's Seifa. I haven't watched Castlevania at all. I'm so sorry. So, but I know that that was who she was. Here's Baki with his mom. If you, if you don't know me, I'm really into Baki. And there's not a whole lot of it in this one. What's this? Oh yeah, these were notes for like a lecture that I went to at my school. And then we had to do a drawing, and I was like doing notes and sketching. This is more notes for like tarot cards. I've been making custom decks and stuff for people. Some of these I haven't done yet. Some of these I actually did do. So some of them are in progress. Right, so next page. This was actually done in November versus everything else that was done like earlier into, I want to say like September, no, early November. This was like late November. It was like late November. So this is the collage of the story of Cupid and Psyche, or like kind of like the ending of it. And I was using the theme of like tarot cards because I got into that this year. So I was kind of like doing like a way of telling the story, or like a part of the story through the cards. And I like doing collage a lot. It's a lot of fun. Um, and yeah, the purpose behind this though, aside from wanting to have something cool in my sketchbook, I had a drawing class. We had a final, and we had to do like a narrative, and we had these huge pieces of paper that we had to like glue together, and they were around these dimensions, but you know, bigger obviously. And I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna put them together. I'm gonna make this thing, and we had to make 3 sketches. I didn't do sketches, as you can see. I just did a full-on whatever. So yeah. Now we're back to October. This was day 1 of Inktober that I did. So again, my character, and then it's funny because when people saw this, they thought it was like, what did you do to the moon? And it's like, it's not the moon. And then I left it at that. And then this was day 2. It's supposed to be like a space princess empress, and it was gonna be like a star or something. So yeah, it was all done in highlighter because I was at school and I didn't have any of my supplies. This was another Inktober. This is honestly what did me in with Inktober, because at first it was just 1 or 2 of these little things, like these little probes that I drew or like designed. And then I was mad that I kept it centered and it was only the one, so I was like, I'm gonna add depth, and I'm gonna put like a foreground and a background and add all these other things. And it took me like a week to do this because I was like very meticulous in planning specifically where everything went. That in that week I literally wasted a week of Inktober, so that happened. This one I actually like it a lot because it's the same thing that I was having with the previous one, but not as many things happening, I guess. Also, I was trying to like, I guess, test myself with perspective. I think I did an okay job. So there's that. Yeah. A lot of this stuff I haven't scanned or posted anywhere. Hopefully I can get around to that and updating. Alright, so this one is another one of those collages I have to do for that drawing class. And the narrative for this one, I keep up with like a lot of like ARGs and like creepy stuff and like conspiracy theories or whatever that are like weird. And there's this one in particular that's on Twitter. It's called The Sun Vanished, and I really like it a lot. And the main theory, I guess, is that specific parts of the world have like a kind of like a localized eclipse where the sun doesn't, it's like just stopped existing. And then I guess my take, which makes no sense, but I'm gonna hang on to it anyway because I'm stubborn, is that the sun didn't vanish. The sun got like obliterated somewhere. So this is kind of like the sun like melting into something. This is all like printed material, like as you can see, it's like from a magazine with a filter over it, and then I just like cut everything up and glued it, put paint. So there's that. And then we're back to October, and this was another drawing for October. Didn't finish it, and then once I gave up in October, I went back to it and started adding random things, like every week. Hence why it kind of also looks a little not cohesive. This page was notes in the background for like this other lecture that I went to, and then I put like this pastel ground that I use over it because I was gonna paint something over it, and then I never did. And then more pieces of that mylar that I just glued it on weeks later. And then fast forward another month, and I just went ahead and like added like random song lyrics in red, and then drew this and called it a night. So yeah, I like it a lot. I was in my feelings, as you can see. uh, this is like random sketches that I did in Prismacolor of like I was trying to like reinvent a Sphinx, I guess, and so that happened. So yeah, I was just messing around with like Greek monsters and sphinxes and doing that. Oh, here's another one for that drawing final. This is the one I actually wanted to do. By the way, my drawing final did not end up being this huge thing. It ended up being smaller things that made up a big thing. But this one was the one I really wanted to do, but my professor didn't necessarily approve it. Not because it was bad, but because he didn't think that it was gonna be as visually like I want to say enticing. That's probably the wrong word, but yeah. And to be fair, it wasn't gonna be look exactly like this. There was gonna be a lot more rings, and it was gonna be a lot more complex. But this again, this was a sketch. To me, it's a sketch. So obviously that's why it's like not perfect, and there's all these things happening. But yeah, if you can't tell, this, you know, just ain't cherubs and angels and thrones and whatnot. It was supposed to be like the fall of Lucifer. But yeah, it wasn't. I probably will do this independently in the future. Don't quote me on that, because knowing me and my streak, it's not gonna happen. Notes for drawing. Uh, this was a sketch for a commission. These are like little doodles of like stuff that I've worn. I wore like throughout this semester specifically. Because I only ever the only time I ever went out this whole like last 6 months was just to go to school and to go to work. And I wear a uniform at work, so that doesn't count. um, I did this Christmas Day, so you see what I mean, like the whole jumping back and forth and stuff. This is toned paper that I glued in, and actually, even the like this is craft paper glued in. Uh, the blue and the pink, like here, like I painted those preemptively. I do this thing where I pick random pages, and I either glue in a different type of paper, or I'll paint it a solid color, so when I get to that page, I challenge myself to add something to it. I used to pre-plan what I was going to put there, which kind of defeated the purpose of being a random page that just falls to you, so it keeps it, gives variety to your sketchbook, at least in my case. To me, it gives more variety, and it gives me more to do. So, yeah. More notes. Taking French, and then notes for this one deck that I was not necessarily commissioned to do. It was a gift for someone, and then I don't know. I no longer have that connection with that person, so I'm not gonna do it anymore. I mean, I printed everything out. I have all the materials, so I'm still gonna make it, but it's just not gonna be for that one person, if that makes any sense. These are like little profiles of myself, of different ways I've done my hair and stuff. It's 9 times out of 10, my hair's always in a bun. I don't remember the last time I had my hair loose, to be honest. More notes for tarot deck and stuff, and whatever this is. Commissions. Alright. Uh, these were like thumbnails, different kinds of thumbnails, and like, you can't see it, but there's also like pink under it. I do drawings on top of drawings. And this was for my painting final. We had to do like our self-identity and stuff. And it's gonna make more sense in the next page. Like, I decided to do lungs, so this is like this like manifesto that I wrote about like the symbolism, or like what I wanted it to mean. So, you know, square canvas, and then we had to do 5 preliminary paintings. So these were like different ideas that I had for the paintings, and then decided to, and then I painted them each, and then had the final piece, which is something similar to this. These were the actual sketches for the drawing final. That was the one with telling the story like a narrative. So here's the one with the, this is like the background. This is like the Fall of Lucifer. This is the one of Cupid and Psyche. Sun vanished. This was other stuff that I was gonna do, didn't happen. So yeah. This one is more recent. This was, can't really tell, but it was also like, it was tan paper that I glued in, and then I just like painted over it, and then went over the, it was acrylic craft paint. I use that a lot. Like the blue and the pink from the previous ones was also craft paint, and it dries fast. It's matte. It stays flat, and it's a pretty good surface, and it's easy to get a lot of color really fast. It's just really easy to do. So even if the paper isn't made for painting, I don't care. I will abuse it. Uh, so yeah, this was just this is technically a recreation of another painting that I saw online. I want to say that the painter was Emil Robinson. Probably isn't, because he doesn't necessarily do landscapes like this, but similar colors. So yeah, I just like went with the paint. Then I went over it with like oil pastel, layered with paint again, and then oil pastel. And then when I was all said and done, I like put matte varnish over it, like 5 different coats. That's why nothing is smudging, as you can see. And I didn't want to use glossy because, like, as much as I love gloss and shine, it's so hard to take pictures of it and scan it. So, and not only that, I really like the grainy look of this, so I feel like with matte, it was more effective. All right. Oh, here's the boy. So, uh, I drew Baki as Lilith from Darkstalkers, and then here's Lilith just as Baki, and then here's Baki and Lilith down here. But whatever. These are more notes for my drawing final. When I decided I was gonna do the story of Cupid and Psyche, but my professor didn't like the way I did it in the previous pages. So then he said, "Oh, why don't you do a deck?" Um, he obviously was out of his mind if he thought I was gonna do a full deck in 3 weeks, or less than 3 weeks really at this point, for the final. So I was originally gonna select like 14. That was not gonna be possible, especially with the just time constraints. So I ended up doing the major arcana instead to tell the story. And these were more like thumbnails and notes before I made all 12 cards. I mean all 22 cards. This is what it was gonna be originally. It was gonna be like 2 different cards mashed together as the background. Then I was gonna like add the cards on top, which I still ended up doing in the end. It just not like this. So really loose, scumbly notes and everything else. So this was the final background for it when I did all 22 cards, and I just like sketched out how I wanted the background to look like what I was gonna do. So I'll put pictures of that soon too, somewhere. Uh, this was a really like boring day. It was a Sunday. I was working, so like me in the morning, me during the day, and then when I was in my closing shift, and then stressed out or something. Wrote out like a laundry list of what I had done. Um, this is again like craft paper and then a piece of mylar that I glued in, but I didn't go back to these 2 pages until last week, actually. So yeah, these were blank for the longest time until like last Saturday, I want to say, and I went in with some colored pencil and some picture plants, so you can see, and then mother-in-law's tongue again, but like huge, like this weird vent art, because like as I titled it, I wish my mother would just stop. And even though it's mother-in-law's, like, has a mom in it, so that counts, I guess. Uh, yeah. I don't do a whole lot of color pencil anymore. I wish I did more often. It's fun. Uh, Notes. You can't really see it too well because it's just like really light pink, but it was like sketches of these 2 characters from, again, Baki the Grappler, and I made them as like gems. Like, I don't do Steven Universe. I could honestly care less about the show, but the concept of alien rocks is pretty cool, and I'll go ahead and appropriate it however I like. So I'll leave it at that. These are thumbnails for paintings that I plan on doing in the future. Like, I already had the surfaces primed and everything. I just need to actually paint them. So, uh, this is colored pencil on Mylar. It didn't go as well as I wanted, hence why it's unfinished and it will remain so. But I did it that way because the sketch under it, again, really light, but it's like really intricate, and I like it a lot. So I didn't want to like ruin it. This is supposed to be like some weird abstract self-portrait. Don't ask why I made myself look like some nymph Capricornius freaking Samael looking monster. That's for another day. Uh, More fan art, I guess, or yeah. I started. Well, I read a lot of manga in general, but I started reading this other like fighting manga, and it's like about like gangsters and delinquents, and it's called Out, and it's really really good. I totally recommend it. I can put a link if anybody's interested, or just like somebody shoot me a message. I don't know. But this is like the protagonist, Iguchi Tatsuya. And I was kind of trying to figure out how like I would draw him in my style, and these are like kind of like studies and stuff like that. So he's my second favorite. My actual favorite is the leader of this one of the gangs, and it's Atsushi Tanzawa, and he's so cute, but he's also really really scary. So yeah, that's me drawing that. Uh, this is notes again for like a recipe for like pastel ground that I use. I've been using a store bought pastel ground because I haven't had the time to actually make mine. But I realized that I never write down any of my recipes for anything, like paint that I mix or like gesso and stuff like that. So I need to start doing that, I guess. I'll probably make a more organized version of this, or like type it out instead of having it just in a sketchbook where it will never be opened again. Little doodles down here of stuff that I plan on making into full things. It's meme central down here. Please ignore. Uh, uh, that's consuming. Yeah. So this isn't a final piece. This is a sketch again. I know, or like really more as a preliminary painting, one of many that will follow. But I had this idea from like for over a year, really, and I kept mulling over how I was gonna approach it. And then when I finally said I was gonna do it, I made the pieces and figured out how I was gonna do it. And then when I got the canvas and I almost put everything on the canvas, I realized it's not gonna look how I planned. And I have like sketches in other sketchbooks too, but it wasn't gonna happen. It wasn't gonna happen. So then I just decided that this piece that didn't end up on the canvas, I'll just put it here and remake it. I made some changes to like the final sketch that I did decide on, and yeah, so there's that. So this is watercolor paper, just watercolor on it, glued it on here. Craft paper for the background again. This is Colk, like the stuff that you use in like for tiling and stuff. I love using Colk in my art for many things, cause I feel fake saying this, but like I like doing sculpture and 3D art even though I don't do it often. So I like incorporating three-dimensional elements into my two-dimensional art. It's probably another reason why I like collage so much. So yeah, I did that, and then this was like gold craft paint. This is craft paint. Like all this is everything else is just craft paint. So I like this a lot. I know for sure. Like now, I know what I can do, what can improve, for when I do make a better version of this or make more preliminaries. You know, like a series, and keep working at it and working at it until I get to where I want to. And then last page is just, you know, sketches of Kuja from Final Fantasy. I haven't drawn him in a long time, but I want to. I want to. And fake pocket. And that's it. So that's my sketchbook.